Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to JoyNews Today. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemiri on DTT because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125. We are a home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, SNIT fires back at reports its reserves will be depleted by 2036, insisting those are just projections that will never come to pass and that SNIT will pay benefits in 2036 and beyond. We are live from the Pensions House where SNIT says there's the need to urgently increase members' contribution to make the fund sustainable. Plus, President Aduomi takes a dig at independent candidate for Aduomi over his claims that the NPP is attempting to rig Tuesday's by-election.
That's all I say. You're here in NPP for Baby Rabanum. About a tomato, Mamma, but the NPP no. You're here about a man. Sana mo peso chire. They say we are banana no na
That's more as a former MP hits back claiming the NPP has no spirit in the constituency. We are live in Ejiso for the wrap-up of campaigns leading to Tuesday's by-election. Plus, in our Dumso diaries, we'll take you to Odoko Buzia Junction, where a 53-year-old man and his 50-year-old brother who run a tailoring shop lament how the intermittent power supply is affecting them. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. We're also live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X Spaces at JoyNews on TV. My personal handle is at Benana Aisha. Please do stay for details. An independent parliamentary candidate in the Ejiso by-election and former MP for the area, Aduomi, says the ruling NPP is facing difficulties in retaining the seat due to the party's poor leadership. He says grievances in the NPP's polling station election in the constituency fueled his ambition to go independent, drawing a part of the party along. Mr. Aduomi refuted allegations of being a traitor, insisting President Akufo-Addo should rather show leadership by boldly resolving internal party issues. Nanaya Ojima was at Ejiso as the former NPP MP wrapped up campaign for the by-election.
Bigwigs of the NPP, including President Akufo-Addo and his vice, Dr. Bawumia, were present in the final rally of the party ahead of the by-election. The president mounted the campaign platform with some jabs for the former MP who is attempting a comeback as an independent candidate.
So about to cabinet minister, our MP.
You unseated a cabinet minister at Ejiso and found nothing wrong with that. But today, you are everywhere talking. Late Sunday night, the independent candidate was on the grounds to wrap up his campaign. Kwabena Aduomi severed ties with the NPP after a declaration to run as an independent candidate in the upcoming by-election. Mr. Aduomi claims the NPP lacks leadership, dismissing allegations of being a traitor.
I don't want to say anything bad against the president. He is the president of Ghana. I'm not a traitor. When I lost the primaries, did I go independent? I did not. I took it in faith. But when there is an issue that is contrary to the guidelines and regulations of the NPP party, and people raise concern, if they are good leaders, they should have solved it. If they are saying that I'm a traitor, even while I'm outside, the projects that I and Kofi Job we are doing, they all favor NPP. Aduomi is not a traitor. They should learn to be good leaders and solve problems that are in the party so that the party can stand up. I'm telling you, NPP has no spirit in Aduomi constituency and even in Ashanti region.
In response to the tag of being pushed by the NDC, Mr. Osu Aduomi wants the president to show evidence for the reason. He explains his candidature appeals to NDC supporters in the constituency due to his track record.
If the NDC man, if the president is saying NDC man, he has to prove I am not an NDC man, because NDC people, they like me. All the works that I did, they are all benefiting. Where have they seen me wearing NDC colors? It's because I said I'm going independent. That's why. The people here who are NDC, they want to vote for Aduomi because Aduomi did projects that benefited them. Now, let me answer what he said. I did it for them. Yes. Even when NDC was in power, I worked for my people. There are some 4 roads that I requested for from NDC government that was given me. 4 major roads. I did it in NDC time. So all the projects that I did, I love it and I had it. Having said that, I used my own pocket money. But who is government? Government is all of us. The roads were not done by the president's pocket money. It wasn't by the vice president's pocket money. It wasn't by any of them pocket money. It is the revenue, it is the sources, it's the funds of the state that were used to do it. What is important is that if you are an MP, you lobby for projects for your people.
Earlier, some supporters of Kwabena Osu Aduomi hit the streets of Ejoso to campaign. 6 candidates are going into the race slated for Tuesday, but the NPP's Kwabena Boateng and independent candidates Kwabena Osu Aduomi are in league to represent the Ejoso constituency in Parliament. For JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima, Ejoso.
Senior political science lecturer at the KNUST, Dr. Amache Boate, is meanwhile cautioning the NPP not to underestimate the independent candidate Kwabena Osu Aduomi. He spoke earlier on JoyNews Desk.
The fact that the NPP continues to be in office today and they cannot boast of any major thing that Mr. Aduomi did not bring there. If that is the case, and Mr. Aduomi stands tall as far as projects in Ejoso are concerned, then definitely they will lend their support to him. You know, it means that the individual matters, the individual member of parliament matters, the individual's, strong, deep commitment to the welfare of the people he or she represents matters. And that will also show in the way the individual goes about doing what has to be done, lobbying to get, projects for the place. And Mr. Aduomi's record is, will take a beating. If he could engage the NDC when the NDC was in government and get, something for this thing, then he stands tall and strong. Besides, the people in the Ejoso know, they know that the current NPP government has not really, done very well in terms of managing the whole country's affairs. The governance has not been, anything to write home about. They are all suffering. Ejoso's market is there. And when you go there, I was there just yesterday, and it's the place that I personally experienced people complaining about the hardships in the system. So all these things are simply not working, in favor of the party, and neither in the candidates of the party.
I've been joined by Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Sribo Kweku, and to tell us more about preparations. They're grateful for your time, Dr. Sribo Kweku. How are preparations so far for the elections tomorrow?
Thank you, Aisha, and my regards to our listeners. To the glory of God, our materials go to Aduomi on Friday. We have finished the training on Friday. Yesterday was the last day that we did the packaging. Today we are set to have the vehicle that we use to do the distribution. We will start the distribution at dawn tomorrow. Our target is that by 6 o'clock, so 6:30 tomorrow, all our material should be at the various polling stations. We have 204 polling stations, and we are set for the tomorrow.
Already we are hearing of allegations of vote buying. Have you put in place mechanisms to check some of these things? I mean, considering what we've seen in the past.
If you are saying vote buying, I don't know where the votes are to be sold. So we wouldn't know where the votes are being sold and where they are being bought. So if anybody has an issue like that, he should report the case to the police, but it is against the laws of Ghana.
I'm grateful for your time. Dr. Sribokwaku is the Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission. He says all is set for the by-election tomorrow. Let's stay in the NPP camp because flag bearer Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia says he has performed far better as vice president than his political opponent John Dramani Mahama during his days as vice president. He says Ghanaians should consider his performance as vice president and give him the opportunity to do even better as president. Addressing some members of the clergy, imams and the faith-based groups at the Presbyterian Church in Okopon, Mr. Mahamudu Bawumia hinted it is important for Ghanaians to endorse him to consolidate the gains made over the past 7 years under the Akufo-Addo government. Maxwell Kudeko actually is embedded in Dr. Bawumia's campaign. He joins us with more. Maxwell Kudeko, what more can you report from the Bawumia campaign? Maxwell, I'm asking what more you can tell us from the campaign of Dr. Bawumia. Maxwell, can you hear me? All right, we'll try and get Maxwell Kudeko. All right, it seems Maxwell is on. Maxwell Kudeko, what more can you report from the Bawumia campaign? All right, we'll try and get Maxwell Kudeko to tell us more about this campaign team. Right now, let's move on to other stories. The Social Security and National Insurance Trust is this afternoon defending the sustainability of the scheme after reports emerge its reserves could be depleted by 2036. An international labor organization actuarial study reveals SNIT may not be able to pay pensions in the next 12 years due to a myriad of issues. Addressing journalists this morning, SNIT Chief Actuary Joseph Poku insisted that the ILO work was just a projection and will actually never come to pass. Joseph Poku recounted similar projections from 2011 to 2020, which all projected similar outcomes but never happened, assuring contributors that SNIT will be able to pay pensions by 2036 and beyond. Kwekwa Santi, who's been monitoring this for us, will be joining us shortly with more on this one. But SNIT also says that the ILO report shows is that there's an urgent need to increase contributions of members of the scheme. Both the employer and the employee currently pay 18.5% of the workers' basic salary to the scheme. SNIT says that must go up and they're working to get the buy-in of stakeholders. We'll bring you more after this break. Welcome back to JoyNews Today. Let's get back to our earlier story where Social Security and National Insurance Trust SNIT is this afternoon defending the sustainability of the scheme after reports emerge its reserves could be depleted by 2036. An ILO actuarial study reveals SNIT may not be able to pay pensions in the next 12 years due to a myriad of issues. Addressing journalists this morning, SNIT Chief Actuary Joseph Poku insisted that the ILO the work was just a projection and will actually never come to pass. Joseph Poku recounted similar projections from 2011 and 2020, which all projected similar outcomes but never happened, assuring contributors that SNIT will be able to pay pensions by 2036 and beyond.
An actuary which seeks to value the scheme asset is that report on the development affecting the schemes
Apologies for the problem with the visuals, but my colleague Kwekwa Sante, who's been monitoring this for us, has joined us from the Pension House where this news conference ensued. Kwekwa Sante, what more can you tell us? You've been asking questions about what exactly SNIT is doing to make the scheme sustainable and end these projections. What has been the response?
Well, Aisha, ultimately, SNIT is assuring the public that it has enough money to pay pensions in 2036 and beyond. We know that ILO actuarial studies that has predicted that in the next 12 years, that is by 2036, all SNIT reserves would have been depleted to the extent that they may not be able to pay pensions. That news, which was broke by JoyNews, has forced SNIT to now speak to the public on this specific that they've been talking about. And they've been offering broad assurances that we can't do that. And in fact, they've been saying that if you look at certain projections that have been made by previous actuarial studies, it showed that in the past, SNIT was going to be bankrupt, but there have never been a time when they've reneged on their responsibility to pay pensions to customers. And so that is their assurance and promise to customers that they are going to fulfill that. And in respect to the question that I asked about what they are doing to make sure that the SNIT scheme is sustainable, they talk about how generally the broad understanding is that the amount of money that contributors pay to the pension scheme must increase. But of course, that is a tedious process. That is a process that would take a lot of time to be able to negotiate with government, with employers, with the general public, before even Parliament will take a decision by amending the law. And so they believe that it is time for contribution to go up, but they know that that is going to be a process that will take a lot of time to come to pass. And on the specifics of the sustainability of the scheme, they talk about how we are going after private employees who are deducting funds from contributors and are not remitting same to SNIT timely for SNIT to do its investment. Perhaps the biggest issue of all is government's indebtedness, how government is deducting money from pensioners or workers and not paying up at all to SNIT. And in fact, just about a week or two ago, NAGRAS and a number of teacher unions did a news conference where they spoke about how much government was remitting the money that have been deducted from them. And they talk about how 700,000 employees were involved in that scheme. According to SNIT, they are unable to tell us specifically how much government owes. At some point, they offer about 2 billion CDs. At some point, they talk about how they do not know that. But they say that they are aggressively pursuing government to pay up all that it owes SNIT, so that SNIT can take this money and invest in and pay benefits. But ultimately, the assurances to the public is that they have enough money to pay benefits in 2036 and beyond.
Kwekwa Sante is our man following that press conference for us. Let's get on to other stories. In our Dumso Diaries today, we'll take you to Odoko Bozia Junction, where a 53-year-old man and his 50-year-old brother who run a tailoring shop lament how the intermittent power supply is affecting them. Aduomi Asari tells a story about the struggles of these artisans in the midst of the Dumso crisis.
Edward Chibo is a 53-year-old man whose livelihood depends only on his handicraft, sewing. The recent inconsistent supply of power is having a terrible toll on him.
I'm experiencing power cuts very well. When the power is off, our work also gets stuck. We don't meet our customers' needs.
His younger brother, 50-year-old Benjamin Jibo, works with him. He recounts how he had to improvise to satisfy a client when Dunso took a seat at his workplace.
Sometimes it goes off and doesn't come until the next day. So 4 days ago, it went off. So I had to run to East Legon to go and do some job for someone because the person needed it so much.
The men share with me how they have no other alternative to make ends meet.
this is what we do to make a living. So when there is no power, you can't do any work. We don't have any other work to do attached to what we are doing now. We are just sowing. Things are stuck. So even if you get a generator and you sow, how much will you charge your customer for the person to be able to pay? Even with electricity, when you charge, they complain. So when you add generator, you buy fuel to sow, and you have to add a little more cost to it. It's very disgusting.
So you use electric machines here. What is the Dumso causing you to do differently?
We use hand sewing machines, but when the light goes off, you can sew. Up to some point, you need the iron to iron. So if it gets to that point, you can't do anything.
So how is the situation affecting them financially?
Power cuts here in Ghana make us lose a lot of money, because in a week, at least, if you don't have anything, at least in a week you can have, if you don't have anything, you can have at least some 1,000 be. But when power interruptions happen like that, you cannot have that money. You end up maybe what you use to buy food. When you after buying food, you don't have anything again. Our financial status is not going up. We always drop down.
Now that the light goes off and doesn't come out, you can't pinpoint on what you get in the week. It's a problem.
The way you have to feed your family is even difficult for us. It's very difficult for us. The children's school, and then fees and all sorts of those things make us stuck.
These brothers, like majority of business owners, are calling for a load shedding timetable.
The load shedding has to come so that everybody will know how to plan his or her things.
We want a load shedding timetable to be out for us, so that we can adjust ourselves. If it has to be a night thing, we can do the night. Then the next day, when the light will go off, we can sleep. We need a timetable, but the timetable too is not coming for.
Because of the loyalty of their customers, Benjamin and Edward haven't lost any customers yet. However, they feel unsatisfied anytime a customer's demand isn't met due to the power crisis.
Are you the tailor doing the job? You feel bad, because that is your customer who has been giving you job all the time for you to get something into your pocket.
In the same vein, some seamstresses at the Kantamandu market here in Accra have not been left out of this crisis. They lament vehemently how they continue to lose customers because of the power cut.
If you are light off now, it will be 3 days.
Sometimes our lights go out for 3 days. This retards our progress with work, and we tend to lose customers. It's electricity we use in doing our work. So when it goes off, I have no other option than to go home. The power situation is really affecting us.
These
things I sew are things I sell to take care of my family. So it's troubling when the lights goes off.
Thousands of artisans across the country continue to reel under the devastating impact of Dumso and do not have a clue on how to navigate around their businesses, with the back and forth on what really is the cause of this situation.
Whose job is it really to ensure a stable power supply for these people? Aduomi Asari's report read to you.
On 15 September 2023, the lives of nearly 39,000 Ghanaians changed forever. This is because the Volta River Authority decided to open the floodgates of the country's largest hydro dam, the Akosombo Dam, citing excess water levels that they claimed threatened the sustainability of the dam. Days later, hundreds of communities downstream got flooded. Thousands of livelihoods and homes were destroyed, rendering many homeless and disrupting education. 6 months after that unprecedented, excruciating disaster, the victims are yet to get their lives back as government remains silent on the way forward. JoyNews went back into that community to gauge life after the disaster. Here are excerpts of our latest Hotline documentary.
The Volta River Authority, the VRA, announced a controlled spillage of the Akosombo Hydro Dam on September 15, 2023, citing excess water levels. However, this single decision became and still is a major disaster in the area thus far, affecting an estimated 39,000 people in the lower Volta Basin. Public toilets, mortuaries, hospitals, refuse dams, homes, farms, schools, and even roads were submerged. Education was severely disrupted. Schools like this one in Agbetikpo in the North Tongo district of the Volta region became shelters for thousands of flood victims. Classrooms became bedrooms, and for months, education was severely disrupted.
They don't have any class to learn. There is nothing like class for them. So UNICEF came to our aid to donate this tent for the teachers and the students to be managing.
Janet Agbavo is the class teacher for KG 1 and 2 here at Agbetikpo makeshift tent classroom. We want to find out from her how she's been coping with the situation. How many kids do you have in this class?
Over 74.
And you are the only teacher?
Yes, please.
Tell us, how are you coping?
The situation here is not easy, but we are managing because the kids too, sometimes because of the hot weather over here, the tent under the tent is not easy, but we are managing.
The full documentary after the floods airs today on the JoyNews channel at 8:30 p.m. on. Please make a date. Now, retired Justice of the Supreme Court, William Atuguba, says fundamental rights expressly guaranteed under the 1992 Constitution are under threat in Ghana. Justice William Atuguba attributed this decline in the enjoyment of rights such as freedom of speech to Ghana's decaying politics and political leaders' lack of respect for these rights and liberties. He was speaking at an event to discuss free speech and academic freedom organized by the Harvard Club of Ghana.
And over again, these freedoms are expressly provided, enshrined, but we cannot enjoy them. That's a fundamental problem to deal with. And I think the problem is that politics seems to have developed into a kind of Bermuda Triangle, not involving the disappearance of airplanes, but the disappearance of fundamental human rights, liberties, democracy. Why does that happen? If that fundamental Bermuda Triangle is resolved, then the freedoms will be stabilized and enjoyed.
Meanwhile, former chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Charlotte Osei, says the state continues to weaponize criminal laws, stifle free speech.
We're clearer in our minds what a democracy looked like and the rules of all of us and why we needed freedom of speech and all the media freedoms. At this point, we seem to have lost our sense of direction. So when we talk about the clamping down on freedom of expression and press freedoms, we tend to focus on the use of state power against either journalists or citizens who have criticized the state or said something the state doesn't like. And that is a key issue. It's a problem. And I think what we're seeing now is, if you read the stories that we see that are reported, and you take out the dates and just deal with what is happening, it's very confusing, because it's very similar to the stories we had in the military, when we were under military dictatorships, and that's why we're all concerned. So now, if I spoke here today, and tomorrow I put out that I had been harassed subsequent to this event, even if it was not true, most people would believe me because of the culture we find ourselves in right now. And it's not just the current one. There are instances in all the regimes under the Fourth Republican Constitution. The issue now is that when you add media plurality, which we have corrupted, rather than it being a vehicle for increasing our freedoms, we have allowed politicians to hijack the ownership of the media houses. And so the plurality of the media houses has now become another tool, either for attack or for suppression of press freedoms. And is not held by the fact that security agencies are involved in suppression. So, for instance, the police can say that you can prophesy if you're a pastor, but do not cause fear and panic. Who decides what is fear and panic? Are we now going to use the reasonable man test in a criminal matter? And even more worrying is the use of the tool of criminal law to fight cases of defamation, especially when the people who are allegedly defamed are political party, politicians.
We're still live on JoyNews Today. We're coming to you from our studios in Kokomlemle. We're on DTT because we're free to air. Let's take a break. When we return, there's a very latest coming from the world of business.
Welcome to the business segment. I am Emma Davis. Interest rates continued to fall on the yield curve since January 1, 2024. That's according to Treasury bills auction results by the Bank of Ghana. The government once again failed to meet its target as liquidity continued to tighten. Here's more.
Indeed, liquidity on the money market appears to be tightening following uncertainties regarding the government's debt restructuring with Euro bond holders. The yield on the 91-day bill tumbled by 10 basis points to 25.54%. That of the 182-day bill also dropped to 27.64% from the previous week's 28.14%. The 364-day bill again eased by 59 basis points to 28.24%. Meanwhile, the government failed to meet its T-bills target by 10.58%. It got 3.11 billion cedis as against a target of 3.478 billion cedis. The 91-day bill was, however, the most patronized financial instrument. 1.983 billion cedis, representing 63.76%, were tendered, and all were accepted. This was followed by the 182-day bill, in which 878.6 million cedis was tendered, and the uptake was the same. Chief Executive of the Kufuor Foundation, Professor Bafwa Agyemangya, has asked the government to ensure its agricultural policies attract more youth to the sector. He suggests the re-examining and adoption of agricultural policies under the Nkrumah and the Champagne regimes to get the youth interested in the sector. His request comes on the heels of the current abhorrence of farming by the youth as the country's active farming population wanes. There's more in this report.
It is estimated that Ghana's active farming age is plummeting as the older generation is now holding the fort to keep the agricultural sector booming. This is as a result of the lack of interest in agriculture by the youth, owing to a non-revolutionized technology-based agricultural system. Speaking at the second edition of the J.A. Kufuor Youth in Agribusiness Festival in Kumasi, CEO of the foundation, Professor Agyemangya, emphasized the need to adopt farming practices that would attract the youth.
The mode of farming has changed. We're in a different world, technologies and all. And young people don't have what it takes to acquire those things. That's why I'm very particular about the kinds of policies that can provide the support that will make agriculture more attractive. Mind you, the farmers we have are aging. So if you don't even get replacements, young people like you and others to get into farming, a time will come we won't even have farmers. In Nkrumah's time, we had what we call the workers' brigade doing farming. Maybe there were some problems with that. We can examine it to see if we can modify that concept and bring young people in to do farming. The Champion's time, Operation Feed Yourself, we can look at it, modify it, and make sure it can get people in to do farming.
The festival is aimed at opening opportunities and nurturing a younger generation of agribusiness experts. Professor Bafwa Agyemangya says the festival is motivating the youth to venture into agribusiness.
From the last 2 years, what we did, at least I'm beginning to see real signs of success, because we have some of them coming back to testify to what they have achieved over this short period. So we are hoping that today's event will also motivate more young people to get into the agribusiness.
Coordinator of the Agribusiness Festival, Jeffrey Agyemang, emphasized the need to have more youth in agribusiness.
The agribusiness sector presents a very golden opportunity. Opportunity in the sense that the sector is a value chain driven. So it is not just a one-stacked area. The sector starts from pre-production to production to processing to value addition and to marketing. So we think that the young people can have that information and identify areas within the value chain and the role that they can play. And this is what we are urging them to take advantage of.
Some participants at the festival expressed high interest in agribusiness.
And that you don't have to know a lot of things about agric before you go into the business. I've learned that even if I were to do it as my major profession, I can do it as a side one. I don't have to get any idea about agric before I venture into agric business.
I love animals and I would want to rear animals one day.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright-Kwefo.
That'll be all for business. For more business news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emma Davis. JN Today continues. Please stay.
Time now to bring you sports on JoyNews Today with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. The head coach of Dreams FC, Abdul Karim Zito, says he's proud of the performance of his boys despite exiting the Confederation Cup. Dreams FC lost 3-0 to Zamalek on Sunday in the second leg of the CAF Confederation Cup semi-final, but they became the first club or the first Ghanaian club to make it to this stage of the competition since Hearts of Oak in the year 2004. Karim Zito says the performance of his boy is one to be proud of.
Well, I think who brought in was Aduomi to be able to win. So when you look at the first half, the chances we missed, and we went back and they came. So it's like the more they were trying to do it, and then the attitude was coming down. You see, because a lack of focus, that did not us a goal. So to me today, I'm proud of my boys. Nobody thought we'd reach here, and I'm very, very happy. Yes, we meet an experienced team. Definitely, this is how it will go. We are young.
Let's go to England, where Thiago Silva, Chelsea's defender, has announced that he will be leaving the club at the end of the season, having signed from PSG as a free agent in the year 2020. He's been at the club for 4 years. He says Chelsea will be part of his family. That's your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com. We appreciate your time.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Showbiz segment with me, Jacqueline and Samaya. Well, let's take a look at some stories trending over the weekend. Now, Ghanaian music sensation King Promise has kicked off his much-anticipated Asian tour with a spectacular performance in Singapore and Bali over the weekend, where he had concert-goers grooving and singing along to every beat and lyrics. We have highlights from the event.
King Promise set Singapore alight with a sensational performance at a jam-packed venue, marking the beginning of his highly anticipated Asian tour. With his infectious energy and undeniable talent, the Afrobeat singer wowed the crowd with a signature blend of Afrobeat, high life, and R&B, creating an unforgettable experience for all in attendance. The Terminator for his ability to conquer hearts and minds with his music, King Promise made history as the first Ghanaian artist to host a sold-out concert in Singapore, setting a new milestone in his already illustrious career. His remarkable achievement is a testament to his global appeal and the universal language of music that transcends borders. But the journey doesn't end there for King Promise as he continues to spread his musical magic across Asia. Next on his itinerary is Jakarta on May 3rd. For Joy News, I am Jacqueline Ansma Yabua.
Well, a big congratulations to King Promise. Away from that, as Joy Prime gets close to dropping the curtains on the biggest kids cooking TV show, Big Chef, the tension in the kitchen keeps heightening. Episode 8 saw all 8 contestants prepare any meal of their choice with ingredients provided by the judges in their mystery basket within 30 minutes. At the end of the episode, Aaron and the Italian queen Nora said their sad goodbye. My colleague Lois Aduomi has more in this report.
As the season finale draws near, the heat has intensified, keeping all 8 wannabe kiddie chefs on their toes. Episode 8 once again saw all the contestants battle it out in the kitchen to escape eviction. This episode, however, came with a twist. Contestants were challenged by the judges to prepare any meal of their choice with ingredients provided in their mystery baskets in 30 minutes.
So today's challenge is going to be a mystery basket. So if you see beside you there's a basket, can you put it on your tables? For today's challenge, you're supposed to prepare anything. It could be breakfast, it could be a snack, it could be a salad, it could be a dessert, whatever you want to prepare, but it has to be from the mystery basket. You have to incorporate anything or everything in the basket to your meal. You have 30 minutes to execute your meal. Your time starts now.
The time to finally face their fate came, and each contestant presented their meals to the judges for scoring. From nerves rising to friends giving each other out for eviction to save their spots in the competition.
Phyllis, would you like to go home? Nora, you want to go home? So if I gave you the chance, who would you eliminate? So between the 3 of you, one chef is going home today.
It's Nora.
atmosphere in the kitchen was indeed too hot to handle. At the end of the episode, the journey of Nora and Aaron on the show came to an end. The judges admitted that although they did well, others did better. They were encouraged to go home and come back stronger as the competition will keep getting tougher. Nadede's oceanic in recipe landed her the star chef of the day title. She beamed with joy as this marked her 4th win of this title.
Our star best performer for this very week goes to now.
Well done.
The judges encouraged the rest of the 6 contestants to keep coming up with creative recipes to earn spots in the finale. Lois Aduomi's report, read to you.
Well, it's a wrap for the showbiz segment with me, Jacqueline and Suma Yabwa. But Aisha, what do you think about Kim Promise's event over the weekend?
Yeah, of course. Kim Promise is a great guy. And that Terminator song
as a global hit.
Explosive.
I know, right?
Thanks for bringing us showbiz of the 8 for the bulletin. My name is Aisha. I'm logged on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.